I don't know.
Oh, we're officially recording. Did you hear that? Did you hear that little CYA from Zoom? Yeah. Hi, Clint.
Hey, David. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How's Down Under? Was that okay?
Down Under's, no, shocking. We're not doing accents today. Down Under's good, thanks, my friend. It's freezing here for me, which is I need to do the conversion. 10 degrees centigrade, which is just ridiculous.
Okay, so I just realized. So when you popped up on the screen, I realized that you're in winter gear, and I thought, what is wrong with this guy? Has he got a fever?
Yeah.
And then, of course, I remember that you're on the other side of the world, literally.
I am, and the toilet bowl goes the other way and all that stuff, right?
Do you drive on the right side or the left side?
No, we are on the right side, which is the left side.
Touche. Well played.
Thank you.
It's that South African humor, isn't it?
Well, slightly dry, maybe British like your accent, but carry on.
All right. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
They'll call me.
Cut.
Okay. All right. So it works well here in the States, but not, for your natives.
No.
So this is, okay. So I want you, when you say your last name, Clint.
Yeah.
Slowly for us, slow Americans.
Vosloo. Excuse you. It's a Dutch heritage, not British. But say it again.
Vosloo.
Yeah, there you go. Well done.
The Americanized way would be Vosloo.
Vosloo. That's how I generally get. Huh?
Can you do an American accent? Midwestern like mine?
What I can do is, oh my God, you from Africa? I get that a lot when I'm over there.
Oh, I tempered my laugh because it would have gone another 60 seconds, but that's...
Yeah, especially in Nashville. Had a lot of fun in Nashville. Oh my God,
told me
you're
that.
from Africa. Yeah. At the odd bachelorette party. The odd bachelorette party when I was the African entertainment.
When were you in Nashville?
I can't remember. No, I was there 3 or 4 years ago. It's probably one of the best weeks of my life.
Yeah, that's what you said, as far as you know, or can remember.
Well, the pictures say so. Yeah, and I was actually there speaking at a tech conference, and it was amazing. It was a bunch of mates got a suite in the Hilton, just off whatever that strip is, and was just
Broadway.
We had a super fun, and then I lost my passport, which is another story.
Really?
Had a book. Yeah. But that's my mate. That's a 5-hour podcast and a book that's busy getting written. So,
is it really getting written? That'd be powerful.
Well, I mean, just to give you context, most people from a first world perspective, when they lose a passport, they get one in a day or two. The South African embassy, because I didn't have my Australian passport by then, actually wanted to send me back to South Africa for a minimum of 6 months to get a passport. But it's a long story involving Washington, New York, consulates, flying across the country. It's a pretty crazy story.
That is, but you made it back.
I did make it back to Australia just, yes.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Well, this is Clint Vosloo.
Well done.
Thank you. So for our audiences again, because we've had you on, and this will be on an episode of DLayered, tell the folks, as they say, tell the folks a little bit about you. And how did we meet? There's another one too. But tell us a little bit about you and who you are and where you came from, how we met, whatever. And we'll go from there.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so Clint Vosloo, clintvosloo.com. Naming is very, very creative. So I'm originally from Cape Town in South Africa, and I live on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. And I met David online, as you do. I chose to swipe right. I actually met him through a mutual friend called Chantal Kanzanese. It's how we met, and had David on my podcast, and I was actually on your podcast on New Year's Day, my time. I think it was 5 a.m. I went all the way through the night and recorded a podcast with you last time we spoke. And what I do is I'm a life and health coach. So I'm very, very, very much focused. Here's the thing. I started in the coaching journey, went through a rough divorce, as we all do, and started coaching divorced men, because for me at the time, there was no real niche, or no real people no one to help me, right? Besides join Tinder and get drunk. I mean, that's the kind of support structure as men we get evolved around. And, you know, coached for that about 2 or 3 years, but it was an interesting journey, to be honest. And I say this, I wouldn't say in jest, but it was a classic supply and demand. So for me, I was really looking to try coach to the next level, you know, spiritual, advanced, physical, emotional. And I don't know if it's the demographics. I don't know if I had as ahead of my time, but I found guys weren't really wanting to change. I don't know if you found that, David, but it was very rare to find a guy who was willing to put in the work, right, and not repeat the same patterns. And yeah, I got I guess frustrated in a way for wanting to help but not having people to help, which was fascinating, right? And then sort of early last year, I went through a health transformation myself, which is something that I kept very secret and very private. I was an ex-competitive rugby player, you know, a jock, so I wasn't meant to have body image issues, and I know you and I have spoken about that. And then, you know, finally got on top of my health, and then sort of, I guess, pivoted my coaching career in a way in terms of helping people regain their health, you know, through using the Wild methodology and 90-day program. And I'm absolutely in love with it. So coaching people, you know, taking them through a 3-month journey, literally changing their lives, saving their lives, and doing so much more coaching and touching so many more people, that it's filling my cup more than I ever thought, right? So bringing couples together, moving some couples apart because they realize they actually don't love each other, which is also important, right? And saving people's lives, right? And letting people attain their dreams. I actually got a text at work up this morning. There was a guy who wanted his pilot's license and he couldn't do it because of a weight restriction, you know, because he was just too heavy to fly a plane. And, you know, got a text, woke up to a text this morning saying I've you know, he's now got his certificate and he can actually fly. So it's been an amazing journey. And it's just, yeah, I mean, come from a very nerdy tech background. So around big tech consultancy. That's where my background is. And what I'm doing now is just, filling my cup more than I ever thought. And absolutely loving life.
Beautiful story. I love the pilot story. I think I've been attuned to that. That is literally changing someone's life, literally having them gain access to their passion or their career, if that was what they truly wanted to do, and not just a passion.
It's quite interesting. There was a guy I was at school with, which was a long time ago now, but you know, he says this himself, right? He was always the fat kid at school. You know, he was over 100 kilograms or 220 when we left school at 17, and he's now, where's he now? He's like 78 kilograms, right? So he's 50 pounds lighter than when he left school when he was 17. And for the first time in his life, he says to me, you know, Clint, why not? Like, I've always wanted to open my business, but I haven't, like, his weight and he's kept him back, right? He's like, why not? Why can't I do this? Why lives in Canada? Why can't I go cross country skiing? And it's just, when you see people, even at 45, 46, realizing that they can do anything that they put their mind to, it's a beautiful gift to give to someone.
It's powerful, which is really what brought you and I together, my friend, right? Is our passion and our calling to alter and transform and help and provide those experiences for people's lives to change. Certainly what we're doing every day in various capacities. But so I'm curious and we talked a little bit before jumping on this call about what in the heck we want to talk about, because you and I can sit and talk about all day, just banter. And you can make fun of me and my accents, and I can make fun of you, the fact that it's cold down under. What's the temperature there right now?
Centigrade's 10. You're gonna have to do the metric to Fahrenheit. I don't know.
In the 30s, I think, maybe. I don't know. Fahrenheit
I do the Google machine quickly. 10 C to F is what I have to do. I have a lot of clients that side of the world, and they don't know what I'm talking about. See, my pound metric's 50. It's 50.
It's 50. Okay. Yeah. Well, some parts of the States, that's the tropics.
Especially my Canadian clients. They're like,
right.
They're running around in banana hammocks. I mean, Speedos. I mean, what? Too soon.
Never too soon with us. That's why we dare deeply. There's nothing off limits, and we're never TMI. So I know that you and I have dove into certain subjects kind of all over the place, because my guess is, and I'm taking a flyer here, is that when you are engaging with your clients from a health and wellness standpoint, clearly you're dealing with their other shit too, right? It's not just an isolating, to your point, you're like, I work with clients who potentially, or couples who potentially go, maybe this is the completion of this relationship. So I know that we can speak various degrees to this, and I know that you have been in the dating world. So if you're open to share a little bit about those experiences, is kind of what you've learned along the way for those folks that are watching that could use some wisdom and discernment and perspective when it comes to the dating world these days, because it is different than it was when we were kids.
So yeah, I mean, you spot on with the how. I mean, here's the thing: and to be quite blunt, when you're selling what I do as an offer, it's people want to lose weight, right? They want to get into a pair of skinny jeans. Yep. They arrive, and after the first week, I'm like, you thought this was a weight loss program? No. When people roll out of the 90 days, it's the least of the benefits. It's like, I've got my mental clarity, I've got my energy back, I've got purpose in life. And I happen to do this with the weight loss is the least of it, because it's all the emotional stuff. And there's a really, really good book that I actually bring up called The Emotion Code, because, in our fat, we store emotions, right? So as people start to lose weight, as they start to layer of fats, all these old emotions come up, mommy, daddy issues, all the shit we all have, right, comes up through the journey. So yeah, it's more than, so much more than that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the how we look's ego, right? And ego is a dangerous thing. And yes, it's, people want to look that way, but it's the least important thing, unless you in tune with yourself and love yourself and honor yourself and respect yourself and all that stuff, which sounds fluffy, but it's, as you know, it's the key to everything, right?
It is.
That's the first part. In terms of dating, wow. I guess the best thing for me to say, and maybe this will tee you up, but humans are consistent creatures, right? We are so habitual. We have our habits with everything we do. Everything runs on autopilot, subconscious. Yep. And my advice for dating is don't repeat your same patterns. Now, guilty as charged, because I did repeat the same patterns, right? I went for the same kind of person every single time. Ended up getting my heart broken, getting spun out the other end, but I kept choosing the same type of person. So I don't know, for me it was, and yes, I am dating someone at the moment. It's now officially,
congratulations.
It's now officially on the internet. God damn it.
Then that means it's special. If it's not plastered all over social media, it means it's serious.
That's well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and actually, she's only the second girl who's ever met my kids, right? So it is important, right? So that's a big deal for me. Love because it. I keep my two lives very, very separate. But she's the exact opposite of everyone I've ever dated. And to be honest, in the beginning, and we super open, it was a weird relationship to be in, because it just didn't feel, I wouldn't say right, it didn't feel the same. It felt so different that it was like, is this how a relationship should be? And it was a very, very weird thing, because I was married for 20 odd years, and the partners after that were pretty similar to my ex. And so how it feels, in air quotes, it didn't end well, and it didn't feel right at the end of it, but you're just so used to being in that pattern that you feel a relationship should be this way. So when you find someone else who's completely different to everything, as we are habitual humans, it's a very, very weird thing to get your head around. I don't know if you've experienced that, or your clients have experienced that, or.
Yeah, for sure. That, and that's we are prone to know what we know, and we are prone to repeat those patterns because it's familiar, right? It's the old, why does someone stay in an abusive relationship? Because it's familiar, right? So we get addicted to this idea of familiarity, and then it just seems normal. It seems, okay, this feels, and then we kick ourselves for going, why are we repeating the same pattern? Why do we consistently, certainly in our world, where we primarily work with women, is why do I keep dating the same man with a different face, right? And so to break those, to your point, to break those patterns, but we have to realize those patterns first, right? So we have to understand, okay, what is it about this attraction to this particular archetype that is, and to honor the attraction to the things that they do enjoy about that person. Because there's the myth is that we're attracted, we can always downplay, we can always insult, we can always leave behind the former partners and go, But in reality, it's not all bad. We chose them for reasons, and there were qualities of those individuals that was good. And to one, celebrate that process and to say, oh, there were great qualities about those individuals. And right, if we do the whole scale system, obviously towards the end of the completion of that relationship, we realized that what was no longer useful and served us anymore was greater than what we thought was fantastic and wonderful. So to identify and to honor that process, to say, you know what, congratulations, you chose somebody then, right, that served who you were then. And now we want to choose others who you, as we like to say, we want to spend time with those who look like our future, not our past. And so that is certainly true in the dating space too.
So here's the thing, I mean, I don't mind putting myself under the microscope, right? Is that I'm an extrovert, right? You're an extrovert. Like, I'm full on human being, but I would always date, and I've got to be careful because it's not my job to diagnose anyone, but a extroverted, narcissistic kind of person is who I'd end up dating. And if I was truly honest, which I am, the reason I always went for that people, because they were and with respect, the shiny thing, right? There was this beautiful,
Absolutely.
vivacious, large personality next to me, which then in my head at the time made me feel worthy, which shows to the world that I'm worthy of such a partner.
Absolutely.
Terrible in relationships, treated me like shit, didn't respect, honor, or love me. But for me at that time, I needed that because I didn't do all those things for myself.
Exactly.
Didn't love, respect, honor myself.
Exactly.
So when you look at your pattern, and those are the hard yards you got to do, right? That's the tough work. You got to be brutally honest. And for those who know me well, go, oh, wait a sec. What do you mean you don't love yourself and you don't like? That's not me, but that's the facade of who I was, right? If I was honest, and that was where last year was such an amazing year for me, because I stopped running, stopped traveling around the world. I stopped doing everything, and I just sat. And that's why I was consciously, celibate / single for a long time, right? Because I was like, nah. I've got to stop. I've just got to stop this pattern. And I didn't date anyone for over a year. Nothing. Didn't speak to anyone. Just not interested, because I knew I needed to do that work.
So, question for you, Clint, since we're right in this, and if you're open to share through that hibernation period, if we will, was it conflicting? Was it difficult? How was it difficult was it a conscious decision to say, no, I'm not engaging, I'm not getting on dating apps, I'm not meeting people, I'm not going out, I'm not, obviously we have the pandemic there that forced a lot of us on the planet to do some different things, but was it a conscious choice every single day to say, you know what, I am working on you? Or was it more of a subconscious process in which you were thinking, no, I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, in the beginning, it was a conscious choice every day. Like, I'm done with this. I'm over this. I can't. And here's the thing. So as a empath, as a provider, which was very much my, how I saw my role, codependent, some would call it. So my role was the white knight, come in there and, here's the house, here's the car, here's the money. And that was how I found my worth in a relationship, which is bullshit, right? But that's my stuff. I mean, that's 100%. That's not what I ever thought. Like that's my stuff, right? But it was a conscious choice of, I can't give and give and give and give and give and get nothing back in return. Now, I had that exact same thought after my divorce, the exact same thought. I can't go through this again. I dated the exact same people afterwards. So I kept repeating my pattern, right? Which is beautiful. But it was a very, very much a conscious choice in the beginning. And then it became so subconscious that I was actually out in, so another bizarre story, I become friends with my divorce attorney. So we mates now. And she lives in Brisbane, and we were out one night and she was like, you don't even realize that women are looking at you, because I was so over the fact of not seeing anyone that it just became like I was just officially off the market. So there would be bars and there'd be an opportunities, and I wouldn't even see it anymore. And I was actually very comfortable in that space, very, very comfortable, because, and this is where it gets dangerous, right? Is that when you do get so comfortable in that space of being alone, you know, single dad, 3 kids, busy life, it's like, I finally figured this out. I'm finally centered. I'm finally at peace with myself. I'm finally, you know, at the time physically looking how I wanted to look my whole life. Like everything, all the boxes were getting checked. And then you go, okay, do I have to bring someone back into this space? Because finally you're at peace, right? Finally you, and I use the word centered a lot, but finally you centered. Not because every single time I brought someone else into my life, it's been a fucking train wreck, and it's destroyed everything. And that was the other challenge when it becomes subconsciously off the market. Then when you do want to introduce someone back into your life, you go, ooh, there was fear around that.
All right, so then perhaps
does that make sense?
Obvious. It does make sense. Makes perfect sense. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, beautiful. And I know so many people can resonate with this. One thing I will say though is, you know, and I think everybody goes through this process differently. I think that some folks will say, you know what, I've said no to dating. I'm not doing this anymore. I've turned off the apps. I'm not doing this. That, you know, in almost an adversarial way to themselves, right? And certainly what we encourage is the both and. Is if you feel like, you know what, I can work and move and heal and do all the things that I do while I'm out there experimenting, practicing, as we say, and not just staying in the lab, but actually going out into the field and practicing. At the same time, everybody's process is different. I love that you're sharing yours. So the not so obvious question, follow-up question to this, Clint, is, so was there a conscious moment when you said, okay, I'm ready?
There was actually, but here's the thing with me is that just in terms of, like, I'm an extreme human being. You know, I am. If I do something, 200%, it's just who I am. And part of my healing journey last year was not running. And what I mean by that, so I would never sit with myself. You know, and I probably would be on Ritalin and every form of ADHD meds these days because I get distracted. So, you know, if I didn't have my kids, I'd go kite surf, and then I'd go run up a mountain, and then I'd go surf, and then I'd do this, and then I would constantly busy not to sit with myself. I'd constantly find distractions. So that's my personality. So when I chose to stop the distractions, like stop the apps, stop dating, it was a conscious choice to just be with myself. And that was for me, right? Because I am squirrel. So that's why I chose to do that, you know, because some people are obviously, I'm assuming, less extreme than me, then they can do that blend. Whereas for me, I'm like, fuck it, no distractions. It's time to just sit for a while. And that was the scariest thing I did. Because what someone told me to do is like brutal advice, but great advice. Like when you feel like running up a mountain, don't sit there. And I'm like, oh. You know, and I was like,
that makes my heart palpitate. Like,
do nothing, and I'm like,
yeah,
serious. And that was scary. But then I started sleeping a lot, which was very fascinating as well. So it was, anyway, so that's another story. So what is your question again? Because the conscious effort. Yeah. So it was actually because I met my current partner. It was actually there was the 30th of December. So 2 days before you and I did our podcast. I actually met her I had on my podcast, there's a girl here called Lauren, runs a yoga studio, a couple of yoga studios. I had her on my podcast and we were chatting afterwards, and she said, oh, you need to meet my best friend. I'm like, cool, I'll meet your best friend. And then I met her on the 30th of December, and it was they actually had a cacao ceremony at the yoga studio for singles night. And part of the ceremony, you had to do an affirmation. And my affirmation was, receive, because I was ready to receive love. Now, as someone who's defined himself on giving, and I still find it very hard to receive, right? I'm not good at it, but I'm working on it. But it was a conscious effort to say, okay, everything in my life is so good, but I'm ready to receive love now. And that was so it was a conscious shift.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And she was there.
She was there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Powerful. So now in this process, in this new relationship, talk a little bit about why it is so different. Again, only reveal what you want and what you're open to share. But why is this different? Why is this broken the pattern? Why is this different than where Clint has been for decades?
Well, first, I think the communication is the big one, right? Because I mean, her journey's an amazing journey as well. And actually, she was on my podcast. I mean, she and I don't really want to share too much because it's her story, but she got diagnosed with breast cancer about 2.5 years ago. And the story was, you know, and I don't want to get controversial with vaccines and medication and doctors and all that stuff.
Go for it. That's all we do here is be controversial.
But
so
fuck,
whatever you want to do.
Don't get me started. But you know, the typical doctor was right. We're going to cut it out and we're going to put you on chemo and radiation on Friday. And this was a Monday. And she said, no, I'm not doing that. And chose the path of mindfulness, Joe Dispenza, mind work, and food to heal herself. So she healed a breast cancer with food and mind. And it's been in remission for 18 months now. And she was just coming out of that tailspin. I was coming out of my tailspin of being alone, and we both sat there looking at each other saying, well, fuck, I'm scared. You know, she's sitting there saying, I'm scared. You know, I don't like, I want to get to know you, but fuck, my life's pretty good at the moment. She's like, well, I want to get to know you, but I'm, you know, I'm also just worried about my health for the last 2.5 years. So it was very different, where it wasn't I guess the drunk in the bar fireworks beginning of a relationship based on not substance. From a physical attribute, we went together for ages. We spoke for hours and hours and hours. Before anything physical happened. So it was completely different in terms of the initial beginning, but also she's more introverted and calculated. You know, compared to the loud personality, which I am. You know, I'm just fucking too much.
Never, Clint, never.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also the yin and the yang, right? But you talk about that with anyone. If you got two extroverts, there's no space for someone, right? You've got to have at certain times. There's only 100% of any form of energy, you know. So and it's just and it's and this sounds weird, but we have like quarterly relationship meetings. I mean, how fucking grown up is that? You know, but it's we both entered the relationship with this, and this is something powerful that her best friend said that night, and I'd never seen it this way. It went something like this: is that every relationship's going to end. Every relationship, business, personal, romantic, always going to end.
Absolutely.
It could end because someone's going to die. It could end because, you know, everything ends. So if we enter any relationship knowing it's going to end, why not just live every day? So this comes back to fucking Eckhart and mindfulness, right? And I thought, wow, that's a beautiful thing. So when we actually sat down and decided to, you know, see where this was going to go, the mandate from both of us is like, listen, yeah, this is going to end at some stage. Right now I'm in. If you aren't, just tell me. If you aren't, just tell me. And if I'm out, I'll tell you, right? If I change feelings, or if I meet someone, or if you meet someone, or something changes, let's just sit down and have a fucking conversation.
That's right. Beautiful.
Let's just be open with it, because you know, we both know the white picket fence doesn't exist, man. You know, and most people, a lot of people my age, the white picket fence is coming tumbling down, and I'm sure a lot of your clients' white picket fence has come tumbling down. But it was different in the fact it was mature, it was less. Listen, where we are now is cool, and I love where we are. But that's it, right? And then once every 3 months we say, and this sounds terrible, it sounds very grown up, but it's like, are you still in? Are we still cool? What's pissing me off about you? What's missing here? Are your expectations here and my expectations are there? Where we at? So that's been, yeah, I mean, everything's different. I don't know if that all made sense. A lot of information, but it's just a different relationship. And she's got the ability, and I need to be careful what I say here, but intellectually we are on par. And I've never had that before. Where someone challenges me and questions me and debates with me.
That's right. Yeah.
Like,
without the possibility of them walking out the door because you disagree. right? That is a
Well,
healthy
I would
debate.
always
It's
be
a
too,
healthy conversation.
and that's my shit though, right? Because I'd be too scared to. I'd be the, the Jim Carrey yes man, because if you if you enable, and if you got to make sure everyone's okay, and that's my stuff. Whereas now I'm like, nah, and that's
Yep.
and that's there's a lot of stuff where for me as someone who wants to be in the ocean for 8 hours a day, like that's my happy place. I would never do that in a relationship. Whereas now I'm like, listen, yeah, I'm going with the boys and we're going on a surf trip for 2 days. I'm out. And I'd never, and that scares the bejesus out of me, because if you're not hoovering and smothering around them, then they're going to cheat on you, because that's my past pattern, right? But if you hoover and smother, then they're going to cheat on you anyway. So it's a weird thing of understanding the difference. And one of the key relationship, actually, we talk about what do you want as a relationship, is that I want independence, and she wants independence, right?
Absolutely.
But it's that independence, knowing that if she goes off to a yoga retreat in South America for a month, that we good, or if I go on a surf trip for a month, we good. And having that safety net, or that trust around the relationship to know you good, not having to shit yourself that someone's going to cheat on you, because that's obviously what's happened to me a lot.
Right. Yeah. And I think you've obviously illustrated this element of trust, right? Is to say we trust each other enough to allow ourselves to go and fly. And this is what so often happens is, well, we're a couple now, and so it's time to come together, and then it leads to codependency and enmeshment, and then we'll become one, and we lose our independence, and we lose the idea, or never come to the idea, of interdependence. And I love what you just said, is we are coming together in a relationship, and what do we both want? Independence, which crashes into the paradigm of traditional coupledom, right? Is to say that I have my life, you have your life, and we have a life together. Yeah. And it's important that we remain in our autonomy, which is incredibly powerful. Congratulations, my friend. I love hearing this. Brother. This is fantastic. Oh, I love hearing about love. And authentic and genuine and co-creative and honoring and cherishment and all those types of things. So it sounds wonderful. She sounds wonderful. So congratulations. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm curious, because this may ring some bells in some folks, because we get this a lot, as far as post-traditional marriage, relationship, partnership, introducing kids, that whole thing. What went into that decision to introduce? What was the process? You have a wonderful communicative relationship with your new partner. What was that whole thing, and how did that come about?
That was I wouldn't say it's something that weighed heavily on my shoulders. So here's the thing, right? As a dad, you don't want your kids to come up in a broken home, right? You don't want that for them. I'm very glad they have me now, because they have all of me. John Legend.
JL, if you're listening or watching, shout out to you.
But I mean but they have the authentic me, right? They have me for me. They have me with my, as you said, my wings, using your analogy, my wings spreading. I'm very glad they see me for who I am now, and I'm very proud of who I am now. So that's amazing, right? So they would never have the grounding around this house that they would otherwise. But I don't want them to. I don't want them to experience more turmoil. And yes, this could be cotton wool, and we do the best we can, and the world's brutal, but there's I've only introduced them to one partner, and that ended soon after that, and that affected them quite badly, and I beat myself up for that quite badly, because in hindsight I introduced them too soon, and anyway, yes, enough about the stick, but I was very, very conscious of it. But it got to a stage where I was probably only after 6 months of being together, that it was just I don't know what it was, but it felt right. And it was a big deal, right? It was a very, very big deal. And I don't know if the real advice to anyone is, but just, if you think it's time, probably wait another month or two.
Mm.
That's
I love
probably
that.
my advice.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the fallow period there. Like, okay, I feel ready. It feels good. And let's
Yeah,
wait.
just because there's the honeymoon, right? You don't want to be love bombed in the honeymoon and do that, right? Because and this is where I've been very, very like just almost pedantic in living two separate lives. Like I'm a dad, like that's my job, right? Like, and I show up as a dad, and then I have my personal life, right, which is my time, and I can choose to do whatever I want. But to merge the two worlds is it's an interesting point, mate, because for me it was always the white picket fence. Okay, I'm going to get a new wife and she's going to become a stepmom, and it's all going to, but I don't actually know if that will happen. Also, my kids are getting older, right? My eldest starts driving soon, and then they just start driving and then they're gone, as you would probably know. But it's a different. Yeah, I'm just trying to. You've stumped me here, which is red. I would just say wait.
Yeah.
I would say wait.
Yeah.
And then don't, like, my kids have got a mom, right? They don't need another mom.
Right.
My new partner, for me, once again, my kids are older, right? 16 through to 11. So it's a different phase. If you've got younger kids, it's different. But this is very much a partner for me, for my life adventures, for things I want to do. Of course, my kids are very much included, and it's important that she does get on with my kids. But I'm not looking to replace their mother.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful insight and perspective, Clint. And I think that there's an importance to fuse those two worlds together in a way, certainly from my experience now, in introducing Paige to my kids, was very organic, and it was very natural. And it was not, okay, you're going to meet the new girlfriend today at dinner at 5 o'clock and we're all going to meet. Now, and my children are older. So I have an almost 21-year-old, an almost 19-year-old, and almost 17-year-old. And so they're living their lives and driving and jobs and got their own money and all that kind of stuff. So it's much different than where I was dating 10 years ago. And to where it's like, ooh, this is a significant deal going on here. So I have to be mindful of that. So I think, and I also think too, what I've learned in the process is the more confident that you are in that relationship, that is going to come across to those kids to say, oh, this is serious.
Yeah.
This is something important to dad. And what I've often said is our kids, especially the kids that are part of completed relationships, divorced relationships, they really do want the best for parents. They really do want to see us happy. And they want to see us joy-filled, and they want to see what we're going to do with our lives post. And they're learning and they're watching and they're observing from us. And what an opportunity for us in post-divorce world to provide an example for them as a relationship moving forward, and that they find us in those happy, buoyant, joy-filled relationships could be a powerful way for them to continue their lives and to go, you know what? My mom and dad didn't work. And what my dad did do is this, and this. And he did his inner work, and he worked really, really hard and became confident and met this wonderful individual. And so, yeah, it's not easy. If it was, goodness gracious, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and we wouldn't have gone through what we got through, which of course paves the way for what we do for other folks now, obviously. So,
yeah, it's interesting you say. I mean, obviously we big surfing family, right? So we all just went surfing together. That's the first. That's how they met the kids. We all went surfing.
Yeah, there you go.
It was just like, I met someone. They were like, okay, I want to meet her. How long? I said, it's been a couple of months, like 7 months. They're like, Dad, you've lied to us. What's the one rule in this house? We don't lie.
Right.
which is the number one rule in the house. But I was, anyway. But we just went surfing together, right? And just talking on your topic of observation, my 10-year-old who's going on 18.
I've one of those.
She said to me after meeting her, she said, Dad, she makes you happy. You laugh a lot when you're with her, and those, as to your point, to the learning and observing. And the other night when they were with a mom, and we're sitting in the lounge here and we're just chilling, just chilling on the couch, hanging together, and she goes, you're chilling, you guys look happy, and she said that a couple of times. Do you guys just chill together? Everything's calm, and it was just these observations that she sees that a relationship can be just, because it's an energetic thing as well, right? She senses that because she's super spiritual, my 10-year-old, right? She has imaginary friends and stuff because it's not her first trip around this earth, right?
Exactly.
But she feels that energy when she comes into the room. And as to your point, to knowing that, this is an energy of a good relationship. This is, that's the role model you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And they know, and isn't it interesting as a dad, as a parent, they know far more than we give them credit for, right?
They're a lot smarter than us, bro. Jeez.
I often say that, Clint. I often say, thank God my 3 kids are so much better than their dad. They're going to navigate this world so much more, so much better than me. And which is true. And I learn from them, speaking of parenting, I learn from them all the time. I'm inspired by them. I'm encouraged by them. And I think, wow, why didn't I know that when I was 17?
Well, it's a different, it's the information age, right? They've got all this information.
Is.
It's just, we were told to, I don't know what's in the States, but, you just parrot fashion learning orders in the textbook. We had no access to all. I'm constantly learning. I just love information. I think it's an amazing age to be in.
Absolutely. It is. Absolutely. For sure. Well, let's see. I'm checking the time here. We've got a few minutes left. I certainly want to, the nuggets, I think it's important if you have some nuggets of overall, some of the things that you work with your clients about, some of the things that you extol to your clients, some of the key moments of wisdom, maybe it's a story to leave our audience here with, and it may be about parenting, relationships, business, leadership, those types of things. I'm always gleaning those types of things from my friends around the world. So based on that, what would you kind of leave our audience with as far as, this is something to remember. This is something that I have found that could provide our WAD audience with some wisdom and perspective.
I'm not going to give you anything sensational. I'm going to give you the most basic, the most overused analogy in our industry is the oxygen mask. Put it on yourself first.
Amen.
But it's life's pretty fucking simple.
Wait, hold on. I want to stop you. Say that again.
Life is pretty fucking simple.
Thank you.
We just make it hard. Humans want hard. They want difficult. Like what I do now in the health and nutrition space, people want hard. They want to go to the gym for hours. They want to fucking count calories. They want a DNA specific. It's not hard. It's easy. Life's easy. Just fucking sleep. Look after yourself. Put yourself first. Move every day. And just
put
love
good shit in your body, right?
And just love the fuck out of yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
There you go.
Like that is it, right? I mean, everything else will ripple out from that. If you just truly put yourself first and like, hey, that didn't do that for 44 years, right? I get it. But if you truly put yourself first and be selfish in how you protect your time, like protect everything around yourself and make sure that you're number one, and then everything else will be okay. And it's that simple.
There you go. There you go.
Health,
friends.
relationships, business, everything. It's that simple.
There it is. The oxygen mask. Brilliant. Big breath. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you
Lovely
so
to
much
see you again,
for
man.
making it to. Absolutely. Good to see you. I'm so happy for you and where you are in business and relationship. And my goal is to get down to where you are.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps you come to Nashville for another fabulous week.
If they'll let me back in, I'm there.
Fantastic. So I look forward to perhaps if the stars align and all that, to meet your beautiful partner and for you to meet Paige and kids and all of that. So thank you again for your time, and tell them once again, business, if they want to find you, Clint, as far as health and wellness, kind of share that real quick. I want to honor that too.
Yeah, thanks, man. So clintvosloo.com, basically running WildFit 90-day challenges. It's a 90-day journey that I can tell you will change your life, guaranteed. It's something that has fundamentally changed my life and changed many, many people around me. And wait for it, infomercial time, I offer a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're in the health, if you're in the health and wellness, imagine if every gym, diet, fad, all that other bullshit offered a money back guarantee, there'd be a bankrupt industry. but I believe so strongly in what I do that there's a 100% money back guarantee. And I tell you, magic things happen in 90 days, and your life will change. And David, thank you so much, and congrats to you and Paige. I think it's absolutely awesome, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it, my friend. Take care and bundle up. I know it's cold down there.
Cheers, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.